Alright, welcome everyone to our unboxing and setup video. It is Clavia here from Kilowatt Industries. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started and show you what's inside the box of an Easy Programmer. So to start, we'll go ahead and remove the little taping here. We'll go ahead and open up the box, and you'll notice that it's quite simple. There's literally two packages inside the box. The first being your handlebar attachment. So this will actually be contingent on your order. But if you did order a handlebar attachment, it will come as such and with the necessary screws required to get it set up. At Kilowatt Industries, we've also included heat shrinks. So again, we've included about 3 of these with an additional one inside, just so you're able to close off those wires on the controller and ensure no shorts. So this would be our first portion of our unboxing. Next would be our Easy Programmer and our harness. So I'll go ahead and take this out of the box for us. And we'll place it here. I'll go ahead and open up the box. And again, the bubble wrap is to ensure there are no issues just in the transportation of the device. And first thing I'll do is take out our wire harness. In the wire harness, I'll actually give a deep dive into this further on into the video. But to start, our 2 wires for power are included in it as well. So these would be our battery positive and battery negative that get bolted on directly to the back. And these 3 are our communication wires. So these would have to be soldered to your back harness. And I'll actually be going over all 3 of these wires and soldering them for you throughout the rest of the video. So that about does it for the harness, guys. Again, super straightforward, super simple. The end is a 5-pin Joulette connector. Again, this is something that will essentially plug and play directly into your Easy Programmer. Now that we've gone through the harness, I can go ahead and show you the Easy Programmer. So when you receive your device, it will look as such. You will notice that the screen protector is cut off halfway. We've done that just so the end user can remove it as soon as they receive the device at home. And you guys have a full, clear, brand new screen to use. And overall, the device will come fully assembled, just without the handlebars at the back. And I'll go ahead and give you a rundown on how to install those as well. But on the side, we have our micro USB slot, our wire coming out of the bottom, our 5-pin female Joulette connector, and our on and off switch. At the top, we've got an SD card slot as well, just in case the end user would like to install future updates. But that's about it for the unboxing portion, team. And now we will move on to the assembly of the unit. So now that we've got our Easy Programmer ready to go, first thing I'll want to do is head over to my handlebar box and take out the handlebar and get it ready for installation. So all you want to do on this side is simply flip it over. You will notice 2 screws there, and quite literally the handlebar will go directly into those 2 screws. And now I'll go ahead and get those screws for us, guys. And now I haven't gone ahead and screwed these in fully, but I hope you do get the point as to what assembly looks like. You'll just want to get these screws in fully, and then right after that, your device will be ready for setup. Alright everyone, now that we've gone through the unboxing process, now it's time for me to show you exactly how to connect the Easy Programmer to your controller. So I'll give you an example of how a back controller looks directly as it comes from ASI. So the wiring harness is labeled. For example, here we can see the 5-volt output. But again, you will notice that there were 3 wires here that are attached to a 3-pin waterproof connector. In this instance, these are the 3 wires you'd need to connect with the Easy Programmer. You would not need any other 3 wires. In the instance that you have purchased a back from a third-party vendor who've made their own harness, you would actually have to cut into the rubber gasket that is on top of the wire harness as provided by the majority of retailers and dealers, and you will have to get those wires yourself. And now the exact wires we're looking for are pin number 3, which is our TTL-TX wire. We need pin number 13, which is our TTL-RX wire. And we need pin number 14 or 15, which would be our ground. So as you can see here, our yellow wire is pin number 3 from the right, and it's our TTL-TX. For our RX, we've got a gray wire here. It is gray and white. And lastly, we've got a simple black-green ground wire. So these three are all you would essentially need to get the Easy Programmer fully wired in and working with your vehicle. Next, we will move on to our harness. So as you can see here, our harness did come with about 3 wires for communication and 2 wires for battery power. I'd like to get us started off on communication first. Now we'll move on to our second step, which involves a level of soldering and some cutting of your original harness. In terms of things that are required, on the left here I've got my soldering iron, I've got some solder, and I've got some flux here to ensure a healthy connection between the 2 wires. So to start, if you did have this 3-pin connector, what you want to do is simply go ahead to the edge of the connector here, and you just want to cut all 3 of the wires off. Again, no need to be concerned as of this connector. The wires are still completely usable, and we'll essentially be just connecting them to our harness. Now, for the purpose of this demonstration, we haven't really labeled the wires as we are providing verbal feedback, but in your box, all your wires will be labeled with exactly which pin they should be connecting to. So I'll start off with our yellow wire, which is our TTL-TX. So we've created the harnesses in such a way that the yellow wire will always connect to the yellow and white wire on the back. Next, you will notice the black wire in our harness. This is actually the ground. And again, this would also connect with the ground in the back. So a simple solder connection. And lastly, we have our TTL-RX, and that is actually going to connect to our blue wire. So pretty much super straightforward. Yellow goes to yellow, black goes to black, and blue goes to gray. And now we'll go ahead and solder these 3 wires. Alright, now that we've got all 3 wires nice and bare, even on the bottom here, we'll go ahead and apply some flux directly to the bare end of the wire. Alright, now that we have our wires completely open and ready to be soldered, we're going to go ahead and get our shrink wrap that's included with the Easy Programmer, and you want to slide it on top of all the wires onto the back here. This is just to ensure there is no shorting between any 3 of the communication wires. Again, please be very careful and really ensure that you do add this shrink wrap to the wires. Any instance where the communication wires do touch, you will have a fault in the back, and that could result in a permanent loss of communication. So that is literally the last thing you want to do. Please ensure you add shrink wraps on all 3 of the main wires for us here. With that being said, I'll go ahead and solder these wires for us now, and after that I'll give you guys a rundown on exactly what to expect. Alright guys, now that we've completed our communication aspect, we'll move on to our power, and these are the only 2 wires remaining in the harness. So the red wire here, you will notice, is only for battery positive, and the black wire here is for your battery negative, and these will be wired directly to the controller. So I'll go ahead and unscrew the negative terminal here, And it's as simple as just ensuring that your washers are aligned. And again, you do not want to skip on the washers here, team. Making sure that the connector is seated and just screwing it back into place. And just like that, we've wired up our negative. And just like that, team, we've completely wired up our connector. Now that you've ensured communication wires are fully soldered and you've got battery positive and negative directly going into the harness here, you can go ahead and ensure the controller is off, but please do go ahead and now connect the Easy Programmer and you guys will be all set to go.